Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Shantae. I'm your host Shadow HB3 and I'm ready to entertain. In the last episode we got introduced to the lovely heroine herself as well as the nefarious lady pirate herself in Risky Boots. And got introduced to, of course, the plot of this game, what we're going after, and why we're going after it. And in this episode we are going to go ahead and finally start to set foot on our adventure. Now I've gone ahead and saved the game, and so we don't have to worry about doing it there, here, but this is the save room, of course, we just are going to be coming out of. Now before we do leave Skittletown, there are a couple of places I want to show you here, some of which are going to be common in the other towns, but there are a few other places here that won't be as common that I'll show. Right now, we'll just quickly go to Mimic's dock here. And he's gonna, if you were to go talk to him now, at this point now, he'll just give you advice on where to go to next. So you talk to him and she'll just tell you, of course, you need to go to Watertown, find Bolo. And we'll get introduced to Bolo in this video later on here. But here's the other towns or other buildings that you'll find in each town generally. First off, we have the bathhouse. This is where you go to recharge your health. The owners of each of these bathhouses is different from town to town, but they'll just, of course, to tell you that this is where you go to revive your aching muscles and soak your worries away. So all you just need to do, go to left or go right, you'll see a hot water tub. You just stand in it long enough and your heart's health will be replenished, and then you're done. So it's almost like being in a Pokemon Center, only Shantae's not a Pokemon. And I did not mean to go back inside the bathhouse. Maybe I just loved how warm it is inside there, I don't know. Okay, next room. Save room we've already gone to. The item shop. This is, of course, where we will put these gems to good use to buy various items here. I'm not going to buy anything, of course, since I don't have a whole lot of gems to work with, even though we paid for some. I don't even have enough to buy a small sample of vial, but these 3 vials right here, this is, of course, to help restore portions of your health. I really should buy some, because I can already tell you guys right now I'm going to be dying quite often as the game goes on. This game is pretty difficult when it comes to dealing with enemies. And then we have some of these other items, one of which I can see us using here down the road. The others, you don't necessarily need them, but they can, of course, come in handy if you want. But these are the main common items here. We're going to see some other items. No, I don't even have enough to buy it. So yes, we are done. Let's get out of here. But yep, so the more enemies you take out and the more gems you win, then you can save it up, and any time we have leftovers, of course, I may buy them, use them to buy certain things. And then we have the dance parlor, which is unique here to Skittletown. This is where you go if you want to look to earn some extra gems, extra cash. However, you can only participate in this during the nighttime. If you talk to this owner here during the day, she will tell you, sorry kiddo, show's over till tonight, come back later. So yep, you can only perform here at nighttime, and that leads me to go ahead and tell you all, since I don't think I said in the first video, this game runs on a day-night system, and I think it switches from night to day probably about every 3 to 4 or maybe 5 minutes or so. So just keep that in mind, but that'll of course have an impact on the game as well. But just know for now, for the dance parlor, we can't participate in that unless it's nighttime. And then finally here, this is another common building in the towns. We have the Warp Squid Hut. This mama Warp Squid has 4 baby Warp Squids that apparently got lost and she couldn't do anything about. So she's like, oh man, they're always getting into mischief. Please find all 4 of them and I'll give you something nice for your trouble. And that thing she's referring to that's nice is that she will allow us to teleport ourselves from town to town, so that'll make travel across Sequin Land much more handy. So that's really everything here in terms of what you need to see. I mean, a lot of these rooms, like I said, they're pretty common in each of the towns, but some of them are unique. And then before we leave, I do want to mention this resident, which you can talk to the residents in each town, by the way. This one is funny how she's like, oh, you're a dancer, right? You should check out the dance parlor tonight and shake what mama gave you. It's a great way to earn extra gems. So yeah, they'll have some hints for a couple of a couple of items. So you may talk to them from time to time, but as I record these, I'll generally know what I'm doing, so I won't spend a whole lot of time talking to them. But for now, let's leave the Scuttle Town and let's go ahead and proceed on our adventure. Now, before we start, I do want to let you all know that Sequin Land, it's a ring-shaped continent, so I'm going to refer to the directions as left and right rather than east and west. So we're going to go ahead and go right, and we'll start off by going through this first area called Scarecrow Field. And what do you know? Not even 5 seconds after we get here, I already take my first hit. But yeah, this is going to be one of a couple of areas where we're going to be dealing with enemies. Here we have these dirt dogs, which will pop out of the ground and throw spears. They probably give me the most fits right now out of all the enemies. But they can be handy if you need to try to get yourself some hearts here. But they basically spawn endlessly. Other than them, the other enemy you have to worry about, of course, in Scarecrow Field is these scarecrows, which they can be annoying because they sometimes pop out in front of you, and you can't really do much about where they pop out. You just have to kind of, you know, keep yourself on the lookout. But they will, of course, drop items from time to time, whether it be hearts or gems. But try not to get too caught up in attacking these guys, because ideally you want to try to make it through here as fast as you can, because the day-night system will have an impact on the enemies as well, and I'll mention that here once we get to nighttime. That item up at the top you may have seen at the pillar, I can't get that yet. We'll get it a little later on, but let's go ahead and try to get through Scarecrow Field, hopefully before it gets to nighttime, although I'm thinking I may not be able to, but we'll just see. Oh, I just got a heart only to get a right back. Yeah. Like I said, you don't want to waste too much time, although they are pretty convenient if you want to rack up gems. Man, I thought this dirt dog was going to fall off here at first, but he didn't. Alright, we're through. So after you go through Scarecrow Field, now we're here through Spider Forest, where we'll see a couple more new enemies, including this one-eyed spider, which can be annoying. It squirts out these little poison balls, which can harm you, of course. And then we'll encounter these orcs here, which can be problematic. You shouldn't waste your time with these guys. And I should go ahead and mention it now that it's nighttime here for the first time. How this affects the enemies in this system is that it makes enemies a lot more, I guess, they say it makes them stronger, or enemies become stronger at night. I take it as that enemies take more hits, because I've noticed that for some of the enemies, they don't really do, I mean, they basically do half amount of damage of your heart, even here at nighttime. But a good portion of these enemies will take more hits at nighttime to defeat, so that's why you want to try to make your way through here, especially early in this game, getting through these portions as early as possible, so that way you don't have to deal with the amount of enemies here. Now, you think you'll be able to go up this hill here, but if you try, you'll just fall back down. We're not going to be able to make our way up that way. We will be able to kind of climb up here eventually, but for now, just know that as we are right now as Shantae, we can't get up there. So we'll just go ahead and try to make our way through Spider Forest without much trouble, or as little trouble as possible. I mean, as we walk our way down, some of these areas where we're having to deal with these spiders can be problematic and annoying, but if you just take your time, they won't be that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, who would have thought another level which is based off of the name of the primary creature that you see here. But just get used to walking across these areas and having to go back and forth for now. And I'm surprised I couldn't get that one-eyed spider, but oh well, it's no big deal. And then finally, as we get to the end of this section here, we encounter another one of these areas, these little, I guess, places where if you talk to this person, I don't even know if it's real or not, but I mean, you can save your game here is what you should know if you wanted to at this point, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to proceed on. Here we have, it looks like an entrance to maybe looks like an entrance to a fountain or a labyrinth or something like that. Don't worry about it right now, although just know it will come into play here in this episode. But let's proceed on. We got one more area to go through here. This is Waterfall Lake. This is probably going to be the most difficult area to get through just for now, because it takes a long time to get through, and you'll see why here in a moment. We have those frogfish, which can be annoying, and they don't really do much outside of climbing through walls, and of course I take a hit. So Waterfall Lake, if you try to walk through these waterfalls, they have these water dragons that will will spawn randomly at will through the waterfalls. They can't be harmed at any time, so really at this point just know that what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to climb up top of these rocks to avoid having to walk through the waterfalls, and it's going to be key. Because like I said, you can't defeat the water dragons that pop up through the waterfalls, so just get used to climbing up and down often until we get some abilities to help make this area a little bit less of a hassle to deal with. Now, while we were talking about the water dragons, you also saw these snakes and popping through the holes, and we'll probably see them here in a little bit, but just know they pop through in groups of 4, and we'll see them here in a moment, because I can't attack that frogfish. I wonder how they got their name anyways. They kind of look like a fish, but I guess they don't really look like they have, legs and limbs of a frog, more like a grasshopper, I'd say. Alrighty. But yeah, just a lot of climbing up and over the waterfalls to having, just so we can avoid the water dragons. So even in a smaller waterfall like here, they spawn. It's insane. Alright. So here we have these snakes, which will pop through usually in groups of 4. And this is kind of convenient. You can stand right here and kind of grind gems and hard if you really want to. But what I find interesting is this is kind of similar to the Shimums from Kid Icarus, which I believe those enemies spawned through in groups of 4 as well. I was hoping we'd get through there officially before nightfall, but oh well, it took a lot of time. But in any case, here we are in Watertown. This is Bolo's hometown. This is an ancient town that's built out of stone pillars, and according to legend, it was built by a race of beautiful aquatic peoples. That's why one of the residents here, I believe, he explains all the pillars and junk here that makes up Watertown. But in any case, where we'll go to first here, let's visit the Firefly Shrine. This is a unique area that it's not going to have much meaning here to us early on, but if you go inside here, this room that we're in is pretty dark, and we see a floating scroll. If you try to read the scroll, Shantae's just going to be like, "What is this place? It's too hard to see. It would take 12 fireflies to brighten things up." So, yeah, obviously we can't read the scroll right now. We're going to need to collect fireflies throughout this adventure, and if we do, we'll need to come back here, and if we successfully show the 12 fireflies, we will get a very, very special, and I mean game-breaking present. But I'm not going to show that off right now. Just know that with the fireflies, you're only going to be able to collect them at nighttime, and my plan is, right now, I'm going to save the firefly collecting for once we get all the necessary, help that we need to be able to collect them all without having to go in between. But for now, let's go to Bolo's gazebo. Let's talk to Bolo and see where we need to go to next on our adventure, and hopefully maybe that may or may not involve that giant labyrinth we passed by as we made our way to Watertown. Hi, Bolo. I thought I'd find you here. We've got an emergency at Scuttletown. Things have been rather exciting here, too. We just got a visit from the infamous Lady Pirate Risky Boots. She came here already? And she didn't attack? Pfah, not at all. She just wanted directions to the Dribble Fountain. What? You didn't give them to her, did you? She sure was pretty. In that outfit. Hoo 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 hoo. Yeah, you're going to learn here, Bolo, he's pretty slow-witted. In fact, he's more of a punching bag to Shantae and a lot of the other, female characters that we're going to come across in this game and throughout this series. But he's skillful. He just has his moments where he just kind of is like, man, what are you thinking? This guy can't be this dumb. But anyways, Arg, you imbecile. Now I've got to get there first. Where is this place? You probably passed it on the way here. The aqueduct below it is locked up tight, though. I suppose I could show you how it opens. You bet you will. You're in the doghouse as it is. Ooh, you in trouble, Bolo? I'll meet you at the Dribble Fountain, and you'd better be there. So, now we have to make our way back, but you would think Bolo is going to go ahead and make her way ahead of us, but no. He's just going to stand there, wait for us to leave, and then we'll just go. So that really is all we'll need to do here for Watertown. So all we just need to do is talk to Bolo, and now we have to make our way back left through Waterfall Lake and back to that Dribble Fountain Shrine that we passed on the way here. So see if we can get through here without very many problems. Now, thankfully I haven't died yet, but thankfully I've had enough practice here to where I feel like I'm going to be okay. We'll see. Oops. And this is the problem. Even though I know that these guys spawn in groups of 4, it's hard to tell when they're actually going to pop out of the holes that they fall in. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Definitely did not want to do that. And it's going to be key to, you know, of course, getting back up through this Waterfall Lake here without having a whole lot of problems, just because of the fact that when you go back, well, you may not have noticed it now, but there is a lower half to Waterfall Lake that you don't get to see right away when you enter from you know, from the left side. It will come into play later, but for now we're just going to need to stick to the you know, higher portions of this area, because that's the only way we're going to be able to get back here. And then this is the part I'm talking about. So rather than going down here at the bottom, you'll want to go ahead and just jump up top here and see if we can keep these snakes here from dealing with us. Oh man, I wanted to get that gem. Okay, let's get the gem. Okay, alright. Now forget the heart. I can't be too greedy, and I don't plan on being too greedy here, so let's go ahead and take one more jump, and we are back where we are. If you all can recognize the area, just take out this frogfish real fast. And okay, there you go. Thankfully he gives me a heart to replenish my health in full, which is good, because I need it. Now here's one of the fireflies that I'm talking about. They, like I said, they only appear at night. I'm not going to be able to collect this one right now, obviously, because I don't have the means to get it, but we will eventually get it at some point in time, in the not too distant future. Alright, anyways, here we are at the Dribble Fountain. There you are! What are you doing now, you idiot? I can smell her perfume. So beautiful and alluring. Oh, snap out of it. I've got to get inside. Whatever Risky's after is worth investigating. Stand back. A quick flick of the wrist, and he just throws, I believe what the manual calls his bolo balls, and just hits the icon at the very top of the fountain entrance, and the door opens right there. So he's like, there, that ought to do it. You go on inside. I'll wait here in case she comes back. He's like so happy. He's like hoping that Risky comes out of there. But anyways, we've opened the door to our first labyrinth of this game. We're not going to enter in right away, but we will in the next episode. So I'll go ahead and cut it for now. But if you all like what you saw in this episode, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, let me know what you think in the comments below. And when I see you all next time, we will enter into the Dribble Fountain Shrine, our first labyrinth of the game, and we will go ahead and see what we can find inside here. Probably something important, I would imagine, since Risky Boots is in there. Anyways, for now, guys, this is Shadow HB3 signing off, telling you guys, as always, stay perky. I will see you all next time. Here. Okay, there's some crap here. Okay, it's this next area right here. Let me get a little closer to where I can take it out, so that way I don't have to worry about having to land on anything. Land on it, rather. But then go to this room, and this room I think gives me a couple, problem every now and then, as do these crabs when they appear when I'm least expecting them.